Okay, cool. I'm here today with Christy Finlayson, the head of marketing at Chameleon, here to talk about a content manager role that you're hiring for. Hi, Christy. How are you?
Hey Jimmy, great to be in touch. How you doing?
Yeah, good, good. I'm excited to chat with you. I feel like I mentioned this. I can't help myself. You went through the same process 6, 8 months ago, roughly. You came on board at Chameleon as a head of content. Now you're running all marketing there, and now you are hiring a content manager to take over all content, support you with content. Like, what is that going to look like?
Yeah, so we're looking for a content manager to come and join the team, and we'll be working very closely together in this role. We'll be looking at all the different forms of content that we can put out there, like SEO. We'll be looking at bigger pieces, data-driven guides that we can do, and really expanding on what we're doing and finding new ways to reach people with great content.
Nice. That's awesome. One thing that stood out to me about the job ad, which I'm going to bring up here, um, in the section of what is the role and what will you do? It mentions help create the content strategy, manage the production of content, and then execute distribution of content. And I'd love to just briefly touch on each of those things. Um, Starting with content strategy, is that I guess how settled are you on a content strategy right now? How much room is there for iteration and flexibility? I guess what I'm really getting at is the content manager going to spin up their own content strategy, or do they already have something pretty solid to work with?
Yeah, so we are really finding our feet in terms of content strategy at the moment. We're trying to drive a flywheel strategy. So we're wanting to do bigger pieces of content that can really make an impact and then do as much as we possibly can with that bit of content. For example, we recently put out a benchmark report. So we've got a
Oh,
report
nice.
filled with a load of data, and we've got a lot of work into that. So we're thinking about how can we repurpose that content? Can it be a webinar? Can we put together infographics on that? Can we put a video series? And that would be part of the content strategy that we'd be building up. Like, how can we go further with the content that we're producing? And we're really looking for someone who can be creative there and drive that forward even further.
Got it. That's cool. So it's not just sometimes when I think of content strategy, I'm thinking like it's how many blog posts per month are we going to do and what's our traffic goal. So it's nice to hear that there's a couple more layers to that. Like, as I don't need to tell you, this content is hard to create, so you might as well stretch it as far as it could possibly go.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. And
no,
a
no,
big
sorry,
part
go
of that
ahead.
too will be the SEO strategy that we have in there too. So of course, that is like more traditional content strategy that we're thinking about there. So tying it all together and having a really holistic approach to content.
That's cool. That's cool. The next bullet in there was manage the production of content. It sounds like there is a team of freelancers already in place, and I'm curious. The content manager, I assume, will be kind of overseeing that group of people. Will they also be creating content, or is their role really to um, just to kind of set the strategy and then keep things moving and be checking for quality?
Yeah, so the role we're looking for someone who can really manage those freelancers, make sure they have the work, and that'd be more focusing on the SEO always on that we're talking about here. But then for the content manager, we'd really love to see someone who loves to write. They're happy to be putting out great content too. They're a great storyteller, and myself as well. I love writing. I come from content, and I will also be contributing to the writing there too. So we'll have a really solid content team is the goal.
That's cool. That's cool. I would one of the things that I find myself often talking about in these videos is that if you work in content marketing and you join a company that already has content baked into the culture of the business, is a lot easier to succeed. And so, especially in this situation where you come from a content background, we'll be managing this person. It just feels like it just feels like a really like situation where the person can really thrive. They're going to have the support. They're not going to be having to sell every single idea that they come up with and advocate for it. Like something that definitely happens at quite a few companies.
Yeah, definitely. We believe in content and we want to create great content.
That's great. And the last thing in the role description that I wanted to touch on was content distribution. You've already mentioned SEO. That's a great one. Will this person have any sort of additional SEO support? Do you guys work with freelancers, contractors in the SEO space? Or is it primarily just about let's make sure we do great keyword research Let's make sure we dot all of our I's and cross our T's when it comes to the on-page optimization.
Yes, so we have a lot of tools in-house that we're working with. We have Ahrefs and a tool called Surfer SEO that we use for optimization. So ideally, the right person for the role, they'd have a good knowledge of SEO. They don't need to be the biggest technical SEO expert in the world, but together we'll work on that research. We'll be doing competitor research and also looking for up and coming keywords that we can really jump upon. For example, we had one quite recently where we found an opportunity for friction logging, which is a way of going through a product and finding any bumps along the road and
Mhm.
recording every action that you have. Now, that had about 10 searches a month, but we found that to be a really big traffic lever, and finding things that are going to trend and we have a feeling about them. That's another aspect of the SEO point there.
That's cool. That's really cool. Another thing I was curious about is, so you're in Barcelona.
I am.
The team is spread out. I know you have folks in the States, in Australia, probably other places too. Are you open to someone anywhere in the world? And if so, how will you and this person end up working together in terms of the breakdown of asynchronous work versus actually like getting together for meetings?
Yeah, so we have people all around the world, like you said, and yeah, we're completely remote first. So the ideal candidate can be wherever they are. So please feel free to apply. And at Chameleon, we really do work asynchronously. So Google Docs, we've got Loom, Slack, always communicating and just being really on top of letting people know when you are working and having your schedule open and free for anyone to book recurring meetings within the time slot that you are in.
As you're reviewing applications, are there certain things in a resume or in writing samples that would make a person stand out?
Yeah, in the resume, we'd really love to see someone who has experience in the startup world, perhaps a bit of B2B experience there, SaaS or product management. That'd be really brilliant to see. And we'd love to see someone with a real flair for writing, going above and beyond the typical SEO article and like a bit of storytelling there. That would be brilliant to see.
So one other thing I wanted to ask you about was company culture. And in the application for this role, Pulkit, the CEO, put together a welcome video, which I thought was great, super helpful. Obviously, if you're going to apply, watch it. I also had a very similar conversation to this one with Pulkit when he posted the role that ultimately you were hired for. So I'll obviously link to that too, just to make sure people have that context. But I'm curious what your experience has been like there. You've been there for 6 to 8 months now. Obviously, things are moving quickly. Given that you were promoted and hiring again, that seems like a great sign. But I'm just curious, like what is the culture like, and what's your experience been?
Yeah, so we have a really open culture at Chameleon. Like you're always you might be like miles apart, but you feel like you're very close to the team. Everyone's really welcome to hop on a quick call, like bash out some ideas, get things moving. And I really like that as we are a smaller team, you can come up with a project and really get out quickly. Like there aren't any bureaucracy stages that you have to go through. Like if you've got an idea and you've got the data to back it up, you can really run with it and try out new things. And especially in content, that experimentation is a great feeling.
Yeah, that's awesome. Are there other folks on the team that are involved with content? Like, does Polka get involved, or do other folks in product or sales or anywhere else get involved?
Yeah, so Polka does get involved. He is a great writer, and we often have him on the blog. Also, we have Benjamin, who is our growth engineer. He is working on copywriting and emails as well. And also Tiago, we've got our customer champion. He is working on the help center documents. So most of the team are involved in writing in some shape or form.
Cool. Cool. That's awesome. I would encourage people to go to the site, check out the blog, read a few posts, see what you think. I mean, I feel like that tells you quite a bit about um, what's going on behind the scenes. Like if you work in content and you read a good blog post, you can usually like reverse engineer your way back through that process and see how much thought has gone into it. So I'd really encourage people to do that. Um, Christy, anything else that folks should know about this role if they're thinking about applying?
I can talk you through a little bit of what the process would look like. So we will have the initial type form where we'd love to get to know you. You can submit a you can submit a Loom video with a little bit of information. From there, there will be a take-home exercise as well as an interview with myself and me and Pulkit too. So yeah, I just love to see great writing samples and really let your personality shine through.
Cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'll just throw it out there for folks. If you're thinking about applying and you want someone to read over your writing samples, feel free to shoot me an email. I'd be happy to take a look and give you some pointers. Um, Christy, I appreciate it. We're going to get this video up and posted quickly. I think that this is a pretty fantastic opportunity, like I said, for someone to work in a culture where content is appreciated and celebrated. That makes it, as far as your own career, a great place to grow and to thrive as a content marketer. So I'm really excited about this, and I appreciate you taking the time to do this quick Q&A too.
Thank you for having me.